Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. This is Mar Fox Jr., and this has become the podcast. How do you become anything? You dream, you declare, you commit, and success is your next breath. We are listening to the sounds of Detroit's own Dwelle. So this is my weekly wrap-up segment, which is called, I haven't figured out a title for it. I don't know if I want it to be called Weekly Lessons or Things to Consider or Weekly Lessons to Consider, or call it something altogether different that may be a little cooler, but I'm not going to give you the normal format, which is a kind of theme, 3 points of contact, and then kind of run through the 3 points of contact in an efficient and an accelerated form. But this one is more so like 3 stories or 3 lessons that I learned that just had an impact on me this week. And again, this is kind of like my diary. You know, this is my diary. When I write these lessons down on a paper and when then I convey them through the podcast, this gives me an opportunity to reflect on what I've learned and hopefully take that with me. Hopefully I become more wise because of this podcast and always talking and communicating, not to you, but also to myself, all the lessons that I'm learning. And it gives me an opportunity to revisit some of these things in hopes that I can just kind of keep some of these riches locked in me in terms of, wonderful life lessons. So let's jump into it. The first thing that I learned is I learned more about intention. And I know I talk about intention a lot, but because it's one of these lessons in my life that I realize is a very, very big lesson that will probably shape my life for the rest of my life. And every so often I get one of these aha moments. Well, I remember one of the first aha moments I got was to present to people your true self. Find yourself and present yourself with honesty, right? I remember that was a very, very big thing. And then obviously throughout the course of my life, I learned about how do you become? You dream, you declare, you commit. One of my recent discoveries was the power of decision. People who get what they want never waste an opportunity to make a decision, whether it's a 1-cent decision or a multi-million-dollar decision. They never waste an opportunity to make decisions. And then when they make the decision, they make it right by figuring out the lesson within that decision. So right or wrong, whether it ends up being a great decision, bad decision, regardless of the results, you focus in on the lesson. So those are some of the aha moments. And my latest aha moment has been intention. And so I ask 2 questions when I talk about intention. Number 1 is, how do you want to show up? And then the second one is, how do you want to think about what you're doing? And the key words in both of those is, how do you want to, right? So if I were to say it to myself, I would say, how do I want to show up? Or how do I want to think about what it is I'm doing? And I think the words, how do I want to, speak of intention, but you also reclaim the power over the situation that you're in. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times we give our power to the circumstances. So the circumstances might be bleak, the circumstances may not be in our favor, but we can't control that. But what we can control is ourselves, and we can control the way that we view what it is that we are involved in. And so it hit me a couple of days ago as I was talking to somebody, and I said, how do you want to think? And how do I want to think? And I said, wow, how do I want to think? If that's not intention, I don't know what is. So as you're going through the storm, you have to ask yourself, how do I want to think about what I'm doing? And then once I figure out how I want to think, then I'm going to think that way, regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of how much I love what I'm doing, I'm going to think about it a certain way. And it has such a redemptive impact on your life. It has such an awesome impact on your life. It has such a, the impact that it has on your life is that the people will reflect that energy. So I was having this conversation with a good friend at work, and her name is Jessica. And Jessica was just talking about how she's living her life with intention, and now she's excited to get up every single day because she was going through some things. But now that she's decided that I'm going to show up this way, I'm not going to let my work, I'm not going to let my relationships impact the way that I want to think. I'm not going to let this situation make me think a certain way. I'm going to think about my situation. I'm going to show up a certain way. And so as I kind of leave you with this life lesson, it's not enough to decide how you want to show up. That's a part of it. How do I want to show up? That's key. But the other part is, now how do I want to think about what it is I'm doing? So I want to show up as a better father. So now as a father, how do I want to think about being a father? I think it's like a twofold thing, and it comes as a package deal, almost like genius level talent and passion. If you want to operate in your purpose, you have to acknowledge what your genius level talent is, and you have to acknowledge what your passion is. It's a two-part deal, and they are non-negotiable. They come together, and you got to figure out both those things. It's the same thing about clarity. How do you achieve clarity in your life? You got to have quiet time and peace of mind. Both of them are non-negotiable. You got to acknowledge the quiet time, but then you also have to make forgiveness. You have to have forgiveness for yourself and others, right? You have to make peace with the world, the past and your present. And this is my latest twofold thing is, you have to figure out how you want to show up, and then you have to figure out how do I want to think about what it is I'm doing, because all you want to think about what you're going to do, what you're doing is going to take that power, reclaim that power from the circumstances, right? And now you're now operating from a position of power because you've decided, in spite of everything that's going around me, I'm going to not only show up this way, but I'm going to think about my work this way, and it's going to have an impact on how I do my job. And it's also going to have an impact on how people feel about your work. So here we go. The next one is giving with a pure heart. So I do this basketball clinic at the Know About Parks and Recreation. And so I teach a couple classes at Eastern. So I was emailing my class to let them know that I'm going to be doing a clinic. I need 4 helpers or 4 workers. I'm going to pay X amount of money per hour and whatnot, and send me back your information if you're interested. So of course I got several inquiries, and leading up to Friday. So I did the clinic on a Saturday, and Friday I was touching base with everybody who said they were interested, and kind of just making sure that we were all on the same page, and our hearts, minds, and our schedules were all in sync. And so I get a text message from this one student who says, I can't come, I can't come, but my car is down. However, I'll take less money if you pick me up. So immediately I write this student off, and I say, I'm not about to pick you up. The weather was kind of bad, or it had been bad, been snowy and icy. And I thought to myself, I already have to get up early because I have to be at the gym by 8. So I have to already get up early. And then on top of it, I would have to get up even earlier because I don't know where this kid lives. So I'm not gonna even deal with it. So I'm talking to Sarah, and Sarah says, Marv, how many times have people looked out for you because they know you needed the money? She said, how many times have people allowed you to train, people made accommodations for you to come out and train their kid because they know you needed the money, or they know you needed the work, or they were just compassionate or just aware enough to know that here's a young guy working hard, I'm gonna throw him a bone, I'm gonna give him an opportunity because I know he needs it. Because I see the passion in him, and I want to help him out. So she kind of got to me emotionally, and she says, you always want to show up as this, incredibly positive, helpful dude to certain people, but other people you kind of leave, you hang them out to dry, or you don't give them a chance. And so I said, you know what, you're right. So I tell the kid, hey yo, I'm gonna be at your place at this time, give me your address. Turns out he lives on Eastern's campus, which isn't too far from me. So I said, I don't have to get up incredibly early, but I do got to giddy up a little bit earlier than I would like to make sure that I get to my destination on time. And I provide some space for anything crazy to happen. So I arrive at my destination, I arrive at his dorm. I text him once, I text him twice, I call him 3 times, text him again, kid doesn't come out. I go to my destination, I arrive on time. I fulfill my obligation with my basketball clinic with Nobel Parks and Recreation, and then I go home. And all the while, I was working to not get myself too upset because I shouldn't, number one, but two, I was trying to find the lesson. I was working to find a lesson, and the lesson ended up being, why are you giving? Are you giving with a pure heart? Are you giving because you want to be thanked? Because you care more about the response, and you care more about the perception more so than just the idea of giving and doing the right thing. So what I mean by that is, I can't get mad that that kid didn't come out. I can't get mad that in some ways I got stood up. I was doing the right thing. I was thinking the right way. I was thinking this kid might need this money. This kid may want to learn more about basketball. This kid who knows what the ambition is. But all I know is I wanted to help him in any way that I could as it relates to the situation. And the response wasn't ideal. So I can't be the dude that goes up to the girl and says, "Hey, nice outfit." And then when the girl says to me, when a girl doesn't give me the response that I want, I call her out her name. I can't be that dude, right? So I got to make sure that when I give, regardless of what the response is, I have to be grateful for the opportunity to give. And if the response isn't great, so be it. I came here to give. And if you are grateful and gracious, great. If you're not, that's cool. But God put something on my heart that I should go ahead and give. And at the end of the day, I got to be happy with that. And so I think God was testing me. He wanted to see, how are you giving with the right intent? Are you giving with a pure heart? Or are you giving because you want somebody to be grateful to you? One of my professors, his name is Dr. Roman, and I'm only giving you two because I'm running out of time. Two lessons. And he said that he went to a third world, not a third world country, but a country that was in need, right? He did some mission work. And they surveyed the location, and they started giving to the people. And the people were upset because they didn't like this donation. They said, "Listen, we like our way of life. We like the way we're living. We don't need what you're giving us. If you want to help us, ask us how we need help. Don't help me by just giving me whatever you want to give me. Ask me what I need, and then I'll tell you. That way, the way in which you're helping me makes sense." So as we give to people, there's times in which we can just give to people. We can give to people, based on need. But just know that sometimes when you give to people, they may not receive it because they may think to themselves, "This is not what I need, and what you're giving to me is actually disrespectful. You're saying something about the way that I'm living." So as we give to people, you also have to consider, I need to figure out how these people need assistance. I need to figure out if these people need assistance, and then make sure that I give them what they need. And I think that's how we give with a pure heart. You can give with a pure heart and just give, right? I can go give somebody a ride because they asked me to. I'm giving with a pure heart. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, I can be a little upset for a little bit, but I don't know what happened to that brother. I don't know what happened to that brother the other night and how that might impact his whereabouts. But on the flip side of things, when I give to people, I also need to ask them, do you need my help? And how do you need to be helped? And then make sure that I can provide help in that way, to make sure that I am providing help with a pure heart. I'm not giving you what I want to give you so I can look good. I'm giving you what you need, because because helping and giving is more about them than it is me. So that's it, man. How do you want to think about what you're doing and making sure that you give with a pure heart? I'm Mark Fikes Jr. and I'm done.